just getting back from seeing Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, and I am so disappointed. They are hyping you up when they say that this is a good movie and one of the best of the year, and that, actors from this film should be nominated for uh, an Oscar. Like, this was a disappointment and an unnecessary sequel. Here's my review of Glass Onion, a Knives Out Mystery. The original Knives Out just it was inclusive. It brought the audience along with the mystery as it unfolded. And this one, I feel like the mystery is so highbrow and aloof. And this sequel is so front loaded with these stars that seemingly tries to overcompensate for the lack of humor and the mystery. It just feels like an unnecessary sequel. I am so disappointed. And this was one of my most anticipated films of the year. I was so glad that Netflix agreed to release this in theaters. It is in theater 638 theaters this week. And I was so glad. I'm like, yes, let us see it in the theaters. Let us experience what we experienced when we saw the first one. The first one was so great. This one is just the mist. Like, as soon as it comes on, it just feels so highbrow. It doesn't have the luster of the first film. This one sort of drags us along, and there are some really great cameos. I thought that was cute. It comes out of nowhere, and so that was a pleasant surprise, but the rest of it is just a mess. So Daniel Craig returns as Benoit Blanc, who has been inadvertently invited to this private, exclusive, high-end luxury getaway hosted by Ed Norton, who's playing some version of Elon Musk. He's this tech billionaire, and he invites Ed Norton's character invites his 5 friends who he come up with. Leslie Odom, who is a scientist, a tech scientist, and he invites Janelle Monáe, who's basically playing the Winklevoss twins. Catherine Hahn plays a governor running for the Senate whose campaign is being bankrolled by Ed Norton's character. And it was great to see Catherine Hahn and Kate Hudson reunite. They hadn't been together on screen like this since How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So it was good to see them reunite. And then Kate Hudson, who is... she's an influencer who kind of puts her foot in her mouth too many times. And then you have David Bautista, who plays like this Twitch influencer, like a meathead influencer. And they bring a couple of friends along. And then you have this Kato Kalin type character who's supposed to be the comic relief, and he's played by Dallas Roberts. So all of them are on this private island, and they have to solve the mystery, which gets solved really quickly early on, and then there's another mystery to unfold based on the relationships that that these best friends had that broke up over money, basically. And I mean, it's long and it's winding. It overstays its welcome. It's basically a talkie. It talks too much. It's an unnecessary sequel. It doesn't have any of the luster or any of that authenticity that the first Knives Out had. This just feels front loaded with stars. And I think these stars overcompensate for a real story and for real humor and for a real mystery. The first act is really long and it takes too long to get to the point. And the final act is a little redundant, and it just over explains what's going on. It just feels like it didn't trust the audience to come along on this journey. And I mean, I was bored. I was completely bored for half of this film. I think it was way too long. The runtime is 2 hours and 20 minutes. It could have been 90. That's how much of it could have been cut off. And I know that there is, some talk about Janelle Monáe being considered for Best Supporting Actress at the Academy Awards, and I don't see that. I wanted to. Like, I totally anticipated this film. This is one of my most anticipated films of the year. I really wanted this film to be good, but it falls short at every turn. The pacing is so off. The dialogue felt haughty and pretentious. There were some really great cameos. I thought the cameos were great. They came out of left field and were pleasantly surprising. I thought that was great. But there is this floor to ceiling mural of Kanye West that they kept on screen for at least 20 minutes. And to see it just felt so uncomfortable and icky. And it is immediately adjacent to a replica of the Mona Lisa. And the energy, like, it ends abruptly. It felt like it just ends abruptly, like it just was out of gas. The ending, the finale, the final scene just still felt abrupt, and you could just feel the energy in the room as the audience just felt unsatisfied leaving the theater. It just was uncomfortable. This just wasn't a great sequel. There are some really great songs in the film. The soundtrack is good. They got a George Duke song and played basically the entire thing. And of course the Beatles song, A Glass Onion. So it was great that those were incorporated. I think the placement of those songs were great. But that's just really all that I liked about the film. I could have waited to see this one on Netflix. Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery for this week, Thanksgiving week, is in theaters nationwide. This is 638 theaters nationwide, and then it will be released on Netflix December the 23rd. I would wait. I could have waited for this to be released on Netflix and would have been fine. I don't think that the theatrical experience will change how you see or experience the film in the comfort of your own home or on Netflix. Because I just didn't have the best experience just because it was in the theater. And I did want this to be released in the theater, but I could have just waited.